Hi, it's Rachel with Stirring the Deep. I want to talk to you about a concept that I feel God's been teaching me for some time now. And that is in part how the resurrection is going to occur. And what I feel like He is teaching me is that the spirits, as Christ comes, He comes with His angels. And it says He also comes with His saints. You think of the pure spirits, okay? And He's spirit. And when He comes, and when you meet Him in the air, you meet Him in the spirit, Christ and His angels, is really what happens is that people are going to, this flesh is like the flesh tent. It is, in a sense, is the entity that holds the spirit. And this tent can have, its personality, but which is also part of our soul, okay? But I feel like what else He's telling me is that when Christ is coming, part of what that means, and that's why those who are asleep will not precede those that are there, is because the resurrection is actually, you're going to be joining your soul mate. There it is the spirits that He's coming back with. As you're being woken up and united to Him, you're also being united to your soul spirit, your soul mate. And that's how He's bringing back those who have been asleep, is that they're going to be awakening in these flesh tents. And so there is going to be a union there. And people think, oh my gosh, okay, this is a wild concept. But when you look at God's truth and in the Word, there's a lot that actually points to this. And over time, I hope to break out this more as I get more understanding. But for example, like when it talked about John the Baptist and Elijah, that was no big thing. And even Jesus said, if you can receive this, that was Elijah. And let me see if I can find those verses really quick. I'm not really sure. Let's see. And that's why, well, I'm not going to take time right now to look at it. I'll put that up for you, okay, that verse. But it was interesting when they were asking Jesus, and He was asking, who do you say I am, right? And they're saying, well, we think, some say, John the Baptist, some say Elijah. This is in Matthew 16. Jeremiah, one of the prophets. So this idea of the Spirit coming back in a different looking tent, or in the tent that is now here, wasn't a radical thing. I mean, Jesus didn't even address that, right? Because He even said that John, right, He said, actually here it is. It's in Matthew 17. But I say to you that Elijah has come already, in verse 12, and they did not know Him, but did to Him whatever they wished. Likewise, the Son of Man is also about to suffer at their hands. They have no idea what that flesh tent, the spirit that it was carrying. Okay? But there's also John the Baptist, but there's also Elijah. So there's this duality of spirits that you see here, okay? Kind of coming together. And verse 13 says, then the disciples understood that He spoke to them of John the Baptist. So you're already seeing glimpses of this, okay, in the Word. And this is also when it talks in Revelation about getting a new name. Why are you receiving a new name? Because you're taking on, in a sense, a much more complex nature. You're becoming that Spirit of Christ, but you're also you're waking up to your connection to this other spirit. It's like you were always part of this other spirit, but you were separated, you didn't understand, you didn't know. But as you wake up, I think people are becoming to the awareness because they're going to identify so strongly with other certain spirits. And this is where, I don't really know how it's going to play out, right? The specifics. But I feel like this is getting to the point where we need to start talking about this and bringing this up, because I think the time is very close. Because as Christ is coming, he is coming also with those angels. He is coming with the saints. So what does that mean? He's coming in the spirit. It's in the air. That's where we meet him. So it's like in the spirit realm, your spirit's being knit to Christ. It's also being knit to that other part of you. And you're going to become this one entity. I mean, we're becoming new creations. It's much more complex and beautiful and magnificent than we've imagined. This is death. We're like the tomb. These are graves. This is what we've been living in. So imagine what life would look like, how glorious that would look like to have a living creature, a living creation, truly alive. And so I think this unity is going to be happening, and that's how he's able to bring back these spirits. Because just imagine these spirits coming back. Okay, you got to think about this in reality, right? Of how that's all going to happen. And maybe you think, well, it doesn't seem very real, Rachel, for another spirit to come and join to yours. But it does when you realize that in the spirit realm, this is just tense, holding a spirit. And spirits in God's creation are beautiful and complex and magnificent. And so how we're coming into this earth, this life that we're spending here, it could look a lot of different ways. So you may not agree with this, or you may think something different, but you have to open up your mind, because you can't have any images. You have to be willing to go where God teaches you. And as he leads you down that path, he tells you, but he gives you those confirmations in your life so that you know you are headed in the right direction. Okay? But that's why, so because I feel like we're on the crust of this, because Christ is being knit to our spirits, that means that the angels, the saints, are also coming. And so what does that look like? It means they're waking up in entities, souls that are already here. Okay? Just like you think about that connection of those spirits. It's like it was always connected, but you just didn't know it because you were in death. It's like you're being born and you're witnessing your whole birth. I mean, you were totally dead, and you know what that felt like, right? To have like nothing in your soul. But as you come alive, you're starting to see. And that's also what's making you alive, is becoming fullness of the spirit of who you really are and all that you're created to be. And it's magnificent. Remember, mind has not even imagined what God has in store. So you can't disregard anything or be afraid, because when you're following God, he will never mislead you, because you're trusting him to not mislead you. And so you go where he leads you, but he makes that picture clearer and clearer and clearer, and he refines the truth. But I think this is part of what's going to be happening. And so people, that's why it's like they're going to be waking up. And you're waking up, meaning you're becoming aware of what's happening. Who are you? Who are you a part of? What is your other soulmate? What is that match? What is that spirit of Christ? What is the creation that you truly are, that is your purpose here, that is beautiful and specific and has always been your purpose? These are incredibly exciting times. So this part of getting a new name, right, it says this in Revelation 3. It says, he who overcomes, I will make him a pillar in the temple of my God. So this is what I've been talking about, is this temple of God, which is holding that pure consciousness, being a dwelling place of his presence, living in the present, letting him establish every present moment. And he shall go out no more. I will write on him the name of my God and the name of the city of my God, the New Jerusalem, which comes down out of heaven from my God. So this is all, you're bearing the name of God. Okay, so because that's also who you are now a part of. And I will write on him my new name. And he is the Lord our righteousness. That is going to be his glory that we bear. But it also talks about, another layer of this is a new name because you are becoming a new creation. And that name reflects the fullness of what that new creation is. But I think this new name is very significant. So back to my picture that I was creating. So you have these saints coming. Well, how are they going to come? Are they just all of a sudden going to appear? I mean, this is creation. So the question is, how do you take what is spirit is a part of creation? And so that means those spirits have been resting somewhere, right? And now they're starting to wake up. And when they're waking up, is because that power of Christ, the life, the resurrection, he's resurrecting them. And as they do that, they're actually resurrecting in people. And that is part of who you are as a new creation of God. When you, even though this seems kind of wow, because that's like a new way of looking at things, but when you look at the word and you have that framework, so much of it fits in, okay? Because of Christ coming and coming with his angels, those purified spirits. Remember, even Christ, the Lord, had an angel, the angel of the Lord. So it's also talking about that spirit creation. You know, the wings, it means you're of the spirit realm. So people that have died in that peace, you know, it's like they are being raised because now they're pure angel spirits. They're of the spirit. And so that's where you have this connection with us. And let me see if I can find that verse in 1 Thessalonians. Let me see here. Okay. So, verse 13 in 1 Thessalonians 1:4. But I do not want you to be ignorant, brethren, concerning those who have fallen asleep. Like they don't, when you're asleep, you're not active in the creation. Lest you sorrow as others who have no hope. For if we believe that Jesus died and rose again, even so God will bring with him those who sleep in Jesus in that hope. So those that are coming with him are those that are in that hope. For this we say to you by the word of the Lord, that we who are alive and remain until the coming of the Lord will by no means precede those who are asleep, because it's this union that's happening. Okay? For the Lord himself will descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of an archangel, with the trumpet of God, and the dead in Christ will rise first. Those dead in Christ are rising first in us. They're the first ones of the first resurrections. They're the first to come alive. Then we who are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air. Thus we shall always be with the Lord. You're seeing that union of all these spirits coming together. And it's talking about the first ones to come with Christ are the saints returning. So people should start waking up to who they truly are. And how are we going to know? Because you can say, wow, okay, now everybody's going to be saying they're this person, this person. How do you know? Their life, their words of truth, the paths of peace, the love without hypocrisy, what their lives are going to be shining, reflecting the glory of God. There will be no mistake about it. When it is true, God's glory, that truth is going to be burning away the deception. There is no deception in that. Okay? It is so powerful and it is so beautiful. Till next time, keep stirring the deep. It's the one thing that changes everything else.